let's talk about making perfect rice on the stovetop. The goal here is really simple. I'm going to give you a foolproof method that gets you fluffy, perfect rice every single time. We're taking all the guesswork out of it.
We've all been there, right? On the left side of this picture, the land of the guesswork, where you end up with this pot of sad, mushy, clumpy rice. Well, today, we are leaving that place for good. We're moving over to the right side, to the method, where every single grain is light, separate, and cooked just right.
You might think perfect rice starts on the stove, but it actually starts with the prep. These first couple of steps are super simple, but they are absolutely non-negotiable if you want that perfect texture. So what do you need? The list is incredibly short. Just 1 cup of long-grain white rice, 1.5 cups of water, and a half teaspoon of salt. That's it for ingredients. For tools, all you need is a small pot that has a tight-fitting lid. And trust me, how well that lid fits is going to be a really big deal later on. Okay, our very first action. And I can't stress this enough, this is maybe the most important step for avoiding sticky rice. You have to rinse it. This isn't optional. It's really the foundation for this whole thing. So why are we doing this? It all comes down to one thing: starch. You see, every little grain of rice is coated in this fine starchy powder. And when that powder hits hot water, it basically turns into glue, which is what makes all the grains clump together. Rinsing just washes that extra starch away so each grain can cook up nice and separate. Which, of course, brings up the big question. You're standing at the sink, swirling this rice around in water. How do you know when you're done? How much is enough?
Oh yeah, there's a really clear visual cue. When you first add water, it's going to look all cloudy and white. Just keep rinsing under cool water until it's running almost totally clear. It only takes about a minute. Once you see that clear water, you're good to go. Just be sure to drain it really well after.
All right, with our rice all prepped, we are ready for the stove. This is where the magic happens, the transformation phase, where heat and water start doing their work.
And this part could not be more straightforward. First, put your drained rice into the pot. Then pour in that 1.5 cups of water. And finally, sprinkle in the half teaspoon of salt. You don't even need to stir, just get them all in there. Okay, next action, turn the heat up to high. We want to bring the water to a full, rolling boil. Now, the key instruction here is to leave the pot uncovered for this part. We're just trying to get that water up to temperature as fast as possible before we trap any steam. And here we go. We are now at the most critical part of the entire process. This is the climax. This is where all that prep pays off, but it's going to require a little bit of trust and a lot of patience. The moment, and I mean the second, that water hits a full boil, you need to act fast. Slap that tight-fitting lid on the pot and immediately turn the heat all the way down. I'm talking the lowest possible setting on your stove. We're officially switching from boiling to steaming. Now, set a timer for somewhere between 12 and 14 minutes. During this window, that trapped steam is going to do all the heavy lifting, cooking the rice perfectly and evenly. And the key word here is uninterrupted. So what's the single biggest mistake you could possibly make during these crucial 12 to 14 minutes? Well, it's that one temptation that everybody feels. And here it is, the golden rule. Do not lift the lid, not even for a tiny peek. The second you do that, all that amazing steam you've built up just vanishes. The temperature inside the pot plummets, and you end up with rice that's gummy on the bottom and still hard on top. So since you can't look, you've got to use your ears. Listen to the pot. If you hear that lid rattling and sputtering, your heat is too high, so turn it down a notch. You should really only hear a very, very faint hiss, and maybe see a few gentle wisps of steam trying to escape. Ding! Once your timer goes off, your next move is simple. Just turn off the heat. Kill the burner completely, but do not, I repeat, do not touch that lid yet. Now, just slide the pot off that hot burner and let it sit, still covered, for 10 more minutes. And believe me, this resting time is not optional. It is absolutely essential for finishing the rice perfectly. See, what's happening is the rice isn't actually finished cooking when you turn off the heat. This rest lets all the leftover heat and steam spread out evenly through the grains. It firms them up and makes sure every single one has that perfect, fluffy texture. This step right here is what prevents mushy rice. And now, after all of our careful prep and all that patience, we finally get to the good part. It is time for the final reveal. After that 10-minute rest is up, you can finally lift the lid.
The very last thing to do is take a fork and gently fluff the rice. Just lift and separate the grains, kind of working from the bottom of the pot to the top.
Now, notice I said fluff, not stir. There's a big difference. Those cooked grains are really delicate. If you start stirring like crazy with a spoon, you're just going to break them up and make the rice starchy and sticky again. A gentle fluff with a fork keeps those beautiful grains intact.
And there it is. That's what you get when you follow the method. No guesswork needed, just a beautiful pot of perfectly cooked rice where every single grain is light, fluffy, and stands on its own.
So here's your final check. Look in the pot. Does each grain look separate, like an individual? Can you move them around easily with your fork? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. You've just unlocked the secret to perfect stovetop rice.